I mean,
Heck of a show.
I'm just saying we need a behind the scenes of Dubs like
Investigate.
yeah.
Turns out the lottery isn't as easy to win as it seems.
You would fit in perfectly in like a small town as like the guy who's
The
busting
investigative
everybody.
guy
Yeah, the
knocking on the door.
investigative guy.
He's not going to talk to us, but I'm going to keep knocking.
Watch out, Juanita's out there. Yeah, this is it. This is clearly what you.
like
If this
that.
doesn't work out for
Kyle, that guy Kyle.
you,
locally.
that's who you're going to be.
Yeah, I love that.
You're going to be the investigator.
Love that guy.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Between the Streams. This is our weekly entertainment podcast here at Digital Trends, where we talk about everything going on in the world of entertainment, try to catch you up to date with the latest news, and we talk to you live. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Periscope. We're live on Twitch. And, of course, we are a podcast that you can listen to after that. If you're listening to the podcast, thanks. Thanks for hitting subscribe. But we have so many things that we want to get to today to discuss that we have a question right out of the gate that I think we want to get to.
Sure.
And it has to do with the Disney Plus service. That is, I'm just fixing my hair there. Disney Plus, it's Friday. It's the Disney Plus service that was announced today. Disney's streaming service we've known is going to be coming for quite a long time. We got a name for it today, so it's not going to be what we had a couple of different.
So Bob
ideas.
Iger originally called it Disney Play. I just
Disney
want to
Play.
say that we weren't just making that up or something.
Right.
He's the CEO of Disney, by the way, and now he is calling it Disney Plus, which is dumb, but
right.
it probably doesn't matter that much.
And this was announced in a press conference and then in a press release that was put out talking about how they're naming this. And there are new series. So the main question before we introduce ourselves that I want to ask is just, is this going to be one too many services? Is this one too many services? That's always the question that we have because there are always new ones popping up. I'm Greg Nibbler.
Ryan Juanita.
And so let's discuss this. So part of what they announced, I guess maybe we'll walk through what it was that was announced.
Sure.
We already knew there was going to be a Star Wars series coming.
Right.
One, The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian. And that was Jon Favreau is going to be executive producing that. We found out a little bit more info on it.
We did. We found out that it's an origin story based on the warrior race from which bounty hunters Jango Fett and Boba Fett came. It's after the fall of the Empire, the emergence of the First Order, and it follows a lone gunfighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. I guess we knew some of that before, but that's a more fleshed out explanation,
a little bit
more
than
what I knew.
We also found out there's going to be multiple directors for that one. They brought in some real star directors that are going to
we knew Taika Waititi was going to do a couple episodes.
Right. And then they've also got Bryce Dallas Howard, which was interesting.
Yeah, okay.
Dave Filoni from the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and Deborah Chow from Jessica Jones. So some other people directing individual episodes, which will be interesting to see how they take their spins on it. But the real big news, I think, was that there's a second Star Wars series.
Right.
Not just one Star Wars.
So many
a
Star
second
Wars.
Star Wars. And this one
Go
bringing
see a Star
back,
Wars.
Go see a Star Wars. $5. So this one, though, bringing back an actor from one of the actual motion picture releases.
Well, and I think that's the compelling thing, just to sidebar, about all these series really, is that from what we understand so far, all of the major stars are coming to these series. This isn't just... It's kind of like it's not TV, it's HBO. It's not TV, it's Disney. These are movie stars.
Right.
Tom Hiddleston, we expect.
Well, yeah,
Diego
we're going to
Luna, we
here.
expect. But yeah.
Yeah, talking about that, because that's the thing, like bringing back somebody like that, Diego Luna.
He'll be reprising his role as Cassian Andor.
Yeah, in Rogue One, which, to be honest, I couldn't remember if he survived through that one. And it doesn't really matter because this is before it.
If you saw that movie...
I did, but
not
it was
a lot
ago.
of people survived. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, spoilers. Sorry, but the movie's like 4 years old. You can figure it out. So Diego Luna coming back, and they, with Disney kind of money, they do have the power to actually bring that back, bring somebody like that.
They have been printing money for some time now.
They have been making
and
money.
I don't think it's just about the money though. It's about the prestige. I mean, there's a lot of movie stars that do TV these days. It's not like it's unheard of, and especially when it's an HBO series. But they're creating prestige series here, and people are willing to sign up on that because they know there's going to be the money. They know there's going to be the directors. They know there's going to be all of the sort of elements behind it that make these movies so huge. Only in a TV series, a longer form series.
Right.
Yeah.
And not only the Star Wars ones, but the Marvel ones they are confirming the Loki series with Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah,
so he will be back.
I think
that's
be
almost
so
enough
cool.
for me to subscribe.
And we talked about
I love Loki.
Yeah, we talked about the Loki series and what you could do with it. And one of my ideas is sort of He's always been the bad guy. He's always been the trickster and everything, and we know how he is there. But if you really wanted to dig in, you can kind of do it from his perspective. And they're really good at creating anti-heroes like that in dramas these days, so you can sort of see why he's doing these things. You know, what compels him to always turn on his brother, who he obviously cares for, to always be a real jerkhead. Yeah. So I think there's a lot there as far as fleshing out a character, which is what we all love about, long form drama series. So it really could be interesting.
Taking a look here, some of the comments that are coming through. Let's see. Bradley is talking about just how there's a couple different comments just about how many different streaming services there are.
Yeah.
DC's streaming service is almost worthwhile because of their awesome animated series you can watch. That's a fact that I didn't actually think about when it comes to DC's side, because they do have theirs coming out, along with access to their comics and, of course, new LA shows like Titans. Curious what Disney will do with theirs. Yeah, so, I mean, DC does have their, what is it, DC Universe, I believe is what it's called.
Something like that.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, honestly, I forget sometimes.
And we expect CW characters to moonlight in there, or,
right.
Like The Flash and stuff like that.
Raymond on YouTube says, I have enough TV with Sony, Crackle, Popcorn Flicks, Tubi TV, Vudu, Pluto TV, Zumo, Twitch, YouTube, Livestream, Vimeo. You get the point. So, yeah.
Those are ones we don't even talk about, too.
Yeah,
but those are all like viable, stuff that people subscribe to. I mean, there's certain streaming services on live TV, of course. There's on-demand ones,
right? But not even
mostly speak about.
Not even mentioning like
Netflix, Hulu, Prime,
Netflix,
HBO, Disney now, ESPN Plus.
I haven't even heard of a couple of those, and we do a show about this. So there's a lot that are on there.
Well, and I'm really sick of the Disney Plus thing, because they have now they have Disney Plus, now they have ESPN Plus. It's going to be ABC Plus. It's just. Come on.
The naming does get done.
That's just silly.
The Disney
Plus what? First of all, plus what?
Yeah.
Like plus internet? I don't know what you're doing.
A couple of other comments coming through, more personal nature. Courtney says, Ryan and Greg aren't wearing matching shirts. Should we be concerned? It's the lighting.
It's Christmas.
It is.
You can't really tell because we got low lighting in here. But
right. That's why we're matching.
Green and red, really.
Yeah, it's the green and red. It's the holiday season is what we're going
God, it's too early for that.
So that's exactly what we talk about on this. So anyway, Disney, announcing these different things when it comes down to that, and I'm assuming that's not going to be all. The other part that we found out about the Disney Plus service is they're going to organize theirs a little bit different than Netflix. Like Netflix, and I think we all know when you go on there, it's just kind of a, blah, here's all our shows.
Yeah, and here's all our shows. Yeah. Our shows, and we have some other shows too.
Yeah, and it's a whole bunch of stuff just kind of thrown at you, and then you have to dig your way through it. Disney's going to organize it a little bit differently, and they did kind of showcase an image like that. Actually, if you go to, I think it's the WaltDisneyCompany.com, one of the websites, you can take a look at it, and what they did is they put all their categories of shows. They're going to divide those up. So it's almost like 5 different platforms within one streaming service.
Right.
So you have Star Wars. Everything about Star Wars will be under that. And then you have Marvel. You have National Geographic, Pixar, and then just Disney, which they're talking about being like Disney classic movies. And I'm assuming probably new stuff as well.
When did Disney buy National Geographic? I guess I should have known that.
It's in the Fox deal.
Okay.
Because Fox bought National Geographic a few years ago. And then now that's where
it is so hard to keep up with media conglomerates. Eventually, there's just going to be one company, Disney, Comcast, Taco Bell, and they're going to own everything.
Yeah. Raymond,
Disney, Comcast, Netflix, Taco Bell.
Right. Yeah. Welcome aboard. So Raymond just said your main website wrote articles about Tubi TV and Pluto TV before I know, and I'm sure they did.
No, we do. We have full in-depth coverage of a lot of these different sites, but frankly, it's hard to keep up with all this stuff. I mean, you have to read almost on a daily basis to figure out how many of these sites there are. And also, to me, the live TV streaming ones are a lot less compelling. I usually just use Sling TV because it's a pretty decently priced, good mix of stuff. But, man, there are so many out there. And that's just the live ones. And then there's the on-demand ones. There's just a gazillion of them. Yeah, and part of that, why I was bringing that up is it worth it to subscribe to another one? And let us know what you think about that. We're definitely going to be circling back around to that topic. We did get some other really cool news over this week, though. And there are other things to talk about.
There are other things.
Disney.
And it is sequels.
Two.
A lot of sequels that are happening.
Yeah.
Including, for me, I mean, actually, all of them are really exciting for me. It's like they read my mind, like, what would Greg want to see right now? And this is it. A Deadwood movie. Deadwood coming back for a movie. And it's long been, I mean, it's been rumored forever because they didn't get the final season to really wrap it all up. And I'm playing a trailer there from the very first season. Deadwood is still so good to go back and watch.
I mean, I remember the last time Deadwood was on TV was was a wife ago for one of my friends. I mean, this is a long time ago.
A wife ago. You're measuring things in wife.
He has now remarried.
Let's see, that was
That's how old Deadwood is.
2.5 wives ago. I think it was Betty one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is an old series. I mean, these guys have grown up a little bit. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just thinking, like, I remember watching Deadwood, like, seriously.
More importantly, is that how your friend measures things? Like, is
I
that
hope not.
Wait, when was that? Oh, no, that was a wife ago.
I hope
man. I don't
not.
remember
But
that.
my point being, this is old ground that they're covering, and they never sewed this one up.
Yeah.
I guess one wonders why now, but I'm excited for it.
Well, probably just because they could get everybody back involved. Because a lot of them took off as, it's pretty big stars on their own. I mean, Timothy Olyphant's had several series.
Yeah, he's done well.
Ian McShane's just awesome in everything.
Yes.
So, and then all the other actors in there are very good too. They, what's his name was in, Sons of Anarchy, was a sheriff in Sons of Anarchy for a long time, and I'm forgetting his name on the show.
I love what's his name.
What's his name? I know that's
So
very
good.
detailed there. But anyway, there's some very good actors in it, and they got them all back. At least 12 of the original cast have joined back for this Deadwood movie, which is filming now. They're expecting even as soon as April of 2019 that we'll have this out. That would be enough for me to subscribe to HBO even just for a month.
Yeah.
You get it.
So we expect it
I
not
will
to
absolutely
be
do it.
theatrically shown. We expect it to be on HBO.
That's from everything I'm seeing is HBO is the one that's going to be doing it.
So then that makes more sense. I guess I've answered my own question because why now? Why now is because AT&T bought Time Warner, which owns HBO. AT&T has a whole lot of money, and one of their big things is trying to beef up the content on HBO so it can start competing better with Netflix.
Yeah.
That's why a Deadwood
This is
movie.
why you can do it.
Yeah.
Dayton Callie. I just heard Dayton
Yes,
Callie.
there you go.
That's who. Charlie Utter. That's what I was going for too. Charlie Utter. All right.
Oh,
So
yeah, okay.
yep. So we have that.
show.
But that's not the only news. That's not the only thing from Greg's favorite shows that's coming back. Breaking Bad. I am honestly right now I'm rewatching Breaking Bad. It's one that I can now put on in the background and still know what's going on. So
Sometimes I'll put it on just to watch one,
Yeah.
and then I'll end up watching 5.
that's kind of how it started for me.
That's
And then I was
really
like I just threw it on randomly and like midway through season 3, and then I'm like,
just pulls
wait
you.
a minute, what happened? What happened after that?
Yeah,
Gus is there?
so
And then-
good.
Yeah, so this Breaking Bad movie, it's confirmed that it is happening. Even Bryan Cranston confirmed it's happening. He did not confirm his involvement with it.
Yeah, what we expect is a sequel starring Jesse's character.
Yep, that's what's
Jesse.
expected. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesse Pinkman, Aaron Paul, as a sequel to that. But the way you could work it out, though, there's still
Flashbacks.
flashbacks.
Yep.
Lots of flashbacks.
Lots
you
of
can do.
flashbacks.
Bryan Cranston can come back. They can tie back in Breaking Saul or Better Call Saul even more. I mean, they can
Breaking
tie
Saul.
Breaking Saul.
I like that.
And maybe that's what they'll call it. So you tie them back in.
Breaking Saul bad.
And make that work.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about Breaking Bad. About
Yeah,
this,
I
this
mean,
movie.
I don't know if anybody knew that Better Call Saul was going to be as compelling and as good as it was. I mean,
It's
we were all
great.
excited about it, but anything
Yeah.
Vince Gilligan puts his hands on seems to turn
Vince
out
Gilligan,
quite well.
Bob
And-
Odenkirk. I mean,
Yeah,
can't
and
go wrong.
yeah, I'm excited about this for sure.
So that is it's in the works. I don't think there's much more confirmed other than it's under a working title called Greenbrier, which I'm sure is not what the title will end up being.
Right.
But they are filming in New Mexico, so we'll see. We'll find out more, I'm sure, on that. But that's going to be huge.
Yeah, last time we saw Jesse, he was driving away to freedom, and that's always.
Spoilers.
And all I thought was he was going to wreck that car.
Yeah.
He's really going fast.
Well, maybe that's
Maybe that's where the movie picks up.
I mean, if it picks up from that,
he rolls the car, and
I'm in. Whatever
be
it
really
is,
cool.
I will watch it
Yeah.
the second it comes out.
agreed.
This does bring me. Well, there's a couple other things. I'll get to these other ones, and then somebody in the chat brought up a point I really want to make. We do have Orange Is the New Black is not even done yet. I mean, but it was canceled, so it's got one more series, one more season,
yeah.
that's coming out. But now they're already in talks with Lionsgate to pick it back up and either make it a sequel or
Some sort of spin-off
spin-off.
series. Yeah.
of that. So, for Orange Is the New Black fans, honestly, I've never watched it. I don't know if that's a bad thing.
Oh, well,
Never started it.
I watched 2
I probably should have
seasons.
started it.
I watched 2 seasons and realized she was never going to get out of jail. They were just going to keep figuring out ways to keep her in jail, and I kind of fell off it. But yeah, I mean, it's got it's got a lot of fans, and it makes sense for them to mine that a
Yeah.
little deeper.
There's a couple more here reboots that I want to talk about, but I have to address what's in the chat.
Okay.
What people are bringing up here because it's always on my mind too. Edward brought it back. Bring back Carnival.
Oh my God.
Carnival.
He's just doing that
needs to
because
come
you
back.
want to do that.
Carnival needs to come back. Carnival was great. They screwed up. It was supposed to be 6 seasons. It only lasted 2, I believe, and they ended it on a cliffhanger.
Well, you might get your wish. AT&T has all that money to spend. They need to tell some stories.
Bring it back. That's what I want to. That's what I want.
I think that cast is pretty unbusy.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
I think there's a few of them that aren't around.
The lead character was in that Terminator 3 movie, or Terminator 7 or whatever.
Yeah, there's
a really bad Terminator.
I don't think Samson's around anymore. I'm not sure about that. But either way, you could figure it out. They can digitally scan people, right?
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, well,
but we'll see.
Bring Carnival back. Okay, some other questions before we keep on going here. Let's see. Raymond says, I don't think the remakes will do particularly well with my generation because I don't think we know enough about the original films. Well, and these aren't even films. These were series. If you're talking about Deadwood and Breaking Bad.
Right.
There's series you can watch. I mean, Deadwood's, you can watch it on HBO.
Yeah, if you haven't
Bad's
seen,
on Netflix.
I know we know better than anybody that there's way too much TV out there to watch.
Yeah,
but that's why you have to separate the wheat from the chaff and get the really best shows. And if you have any kind of it's on par for it. But if you have any kind of like interest in the Old West and you like that kind of gritty take on it, and you really like the F word, you should watch Deadwood. It is fantastic.
New ways to use profanity.
Oh man, Ian McShane is the profanity master.
Yeah. I can't do any.
You've never seen anything like this. It's Goodfellas on 11.
It's groundbreaking. Groundbreaking. Terrible profanity and terrible things to say.
And it's just a fun show. It's fun, dark, interesting, compelling. It's a good show.
Let's see. Raymond is also asking. I'm just taking a look here. This might be one for you. What do you guys think about Sling TV versus AT&T with HBO? Was Sling TV right all along during the merger trial?
So I think what he's asking is whether or not AT&T is pulling HBO to play their hand against. So what happened was to back up a little bit. AT&T owns DirecTV, along with Time Warner and about $1 billion.
Another conglomerate.
And DirecTV is a huge satellite company that also owns a streaming service called DirecTV Now. So DirecTV and Dish Network are the two biggest competing satellite services, and both of them have streaming services. Dish Network has Sling TV. DirecTV has, of course, DirecTV Now. What has happened is AT&T got this huge merger where they picked up Time Warner, and before that, DirecTV and Dish was always saying, if you sell our rival to a company this big, they are going to play dirty. They are going to be a monopoly, and they're going to try to push this out. Because what does AT&T have besides all this stuff? It has telephone networks. It has cell phone networks. It's
got everything.
Internet, broadband. It owns, nut to tree, acorn to tree, like the entire thing, which is
nailing
the
old-timey references today.
But that's the one thing you're supposed to, it's essentially the definition of a monopoly. I mean, it is as defined as you can be. And so the question is, was Dish right? Is AT&T a monopoly? And now is it playing dirty? I think there's plenty of evidence to argue that it is. For one, AT&T was giving away HBO for free, basically, for its unlimited customers on their phones. And Dish can't compete with that. They can't do anything about that. Now they've come to a negotiation where Dish played tough in the negotiations, and what did AT&T do? They pulled it. They pulled HBO from Dish Network and Sling TV, and right now you can't get it on those services. So I'm not a lawyer, but I think there's a lot of evidence for that.
Okay, that was a solid speech for your audition as to be the county investigator when it comes down to.
I'm gonna get in there and trust bust, trust buster.
There you are. That's it.
Trust buster dubs.
So Raymond, you asked for it. There he is. There it is. That's the answer. All right, let's keep on talking about some reboots.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because this
I'm
one
kind
they
of
put
interested in this one. I'm a little scared about it, but I'm interested.
Me too. But they put it right in the name, and it has to do with Kevin Smith, and the movie's actually called When Jay.
I was talking about a different one. You go
Which
to
one
this
are you talking about?
You go with this one. Do the Jay and Silent
skip
Bob.
ahead? Okay.
No.
This one's called When Jay and Silent Bob Get a Reboot, which is something they've been talking about for a while, and now Jason Mewes said it's 99.9% that it's happening. When sometime in 2019 is when they're looking for it. But yeah, Jay and Silent Bob returning again. Does that excite you? Are you cool about that or not?
That series to me went out with a whimper. So
yeah.
And I don't know that Kevin Smith has done anything fantastic for a while. So we'll see. Okay. I'm not going to say it's terrible already because I don't know anything about it. I really enjoyed that series before.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, back in the day, absolutely. Yeah. Mallrats.
Yeah.
Clerks.
Mallrats, and then they had a couple of
Jay and Silent Bob. Strike Back.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of a fun one. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely good stuff there, but we'll see if they can make anything good out of it.
It sounds like they're going to be doing something. I mean, they still tour together, and do stand-up performances together.
Oh, interesting.
Some kind of stage performance.
Some kind of entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got that, and then this is probably the one.
This is the one I was thinking of. Sorry, I skipped ahead, but they're planning now. Big shocker after the Halloween reboot. They are now planning a Night of the Living Dead reboot.
Everything getting a reboot.
Night of the Living Dead is more important than I would say just about any horror movie of its kind at that time.
Wow.
It had a lot of firsts. It was Romero cutting his teeth. It was one of the first movies of its kind where a black actor took the lead. Mm-hmm. It was one of those movies that sort of shocked everyone because they used to show horror movies on Saturday afternoons for kids to go watch. And it created a huge controversy and uproar because of the violence that they used, even though it's not that violent when you look at it now. Right. But it is a groundbreaking, really, really important movie. And it also, by the way, spawned the zombie genre. Yeah. Essentially, single-handedly. I know somebody will probably argue with me that, there was this French movie first or whatever. But Romero basically invented the zombie genre right here. So to me, I watched this one on Halloween. This is a big movie for me. So any kind of reboot, man, they better bring it.
Yeah, they better do it, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's and it's talking about the script is something that was, like you were saying, like the script. What is it about the script that was unique about this?
I don't know what you're talking about, but the movie is good.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't want to step on if you were going to.
No.
Like the script is supposedly a sequel that was in the works back from the original.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even know that much.
That was my bad.
Okay.
That they're working on it. So it was a sequel the original writers and producers penned, but then was never actually made.
Okay, got you.
So there's actually some of the original people in it.
So interesting. Yeah. Well, I knew that they were bringing some of the people back, and I knew that they were trying to stay true to it. Mm-hmm. But so it's not necessarily a reboot so much as it is a sequel then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, if they even follow that,
right,
it would be more of a sequel.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we'll see.
Well, either way, they're stepping on hallowed ground.
Either way, yeah, it would be a complete
they need to be very careful with that.
Yeah. Taking a look here, a couple more questions that just came through. Nelson said, "Do you know why Vizio TV does not have a Sling app?"
I don't, but
it does not know.
Vizio TVs have Chromecast, so you can always Chromecast it from your phone.
Okay. All right. Well, so there we go. Talking about that. So Night of the Living Dead, possibly getting one, possibly getting that sequel. Continue on. Let's talk about Showtime and HBO. And I just wanted to bring these up just so people know, because I feel like another big trend is basically movies portraying historical events, like historical dramas. And I mean, you have right now with Christian Bale, the one coming out where he's going to be playing Cheney,
right?
Called Vice.
That's going to be. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, where he completely changed his body to try to look like Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
Well, Russell Crowe is doing it now for a Showtime limited series about Roger Ailes. Roger Ailes, the former Fox News chief. We did get a picture that came out. This is Russell Crowe there with the cane.
He looks a lot like Christian Bale as Vice.
He does look a lot. I know. I was kind of noticing that too. I mean, clearly put on a bunch of weight, or is wearing some kind of a suit to make that look that way. This is the only picture I believe that's been released. Somebody snapped it from on set, but gone through extensive lengths to try to look like Roger Ailes. And I guess the series is going to cover towards the end of Ailes' life when he was exposed for all of his sexual advances and everything else.
Right.
So we'll see what goes on with that one. We also have another one. I mean, this is not a historical drama. This is more going along the lines of The Man in the High Castle, reimagining history. And this is coming from HBO. And it's called Plot Against America. So it's with David Simon, which that's always a good sign.
Right.
David Simon's involved. And it's a miniseries that paints a hypothetical U.S. reality that where Charles Lindbergh becomes president.
Okay.
Because if you don't know this, Lindbergh was a terrible racist.
Yes.
Real.
Well, he was an anti-Semite mostly. Is that correct, or just straight up like every?
Well, we'll just
not that I'm not trying to draw lines. I was just trying to figure out what that was.
Not a great guy.
Not good.
So it's a reimagining of if Charles Lindbergh became president and then sets the U.S. on a different path.
Wow. Yeah, that could be.
Sounds kind of dark to me.
Yeah, that
I don't know
does
if
sound
that's
really
the time.
dark.
If it's the time I want to watch something that dark.
Yeah. Well, the Nazis is not good either.
It's not good
as far as Man in the High Castle. And
yeah,
that turned into a pretty interesting series. So
yeah. Well, anyway, that's one that HBO is bringing out. Plot Against America. Let's bounce through a couple more here. We do have some Netflix news coming up. Were you ever a fan of Johnny Quest?
Yeah, I don't know that much about it.
Okay,
it was before my time.
Yeah, a little bit before me too. Yeah, a lot before me because
I've seen.
I've watched a lot of things on, once they were brought back out. Like I've watched a lot of things in syndication.
Yeah.
But this was not one of them.
And I think it spawned, like, its style spawned a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And this is Johnny Quest. So Johnny Quest was a series in the 60s, a Hanna-Barbera series, animated series. Anyway, they're going to make a live-action version of it. Warner Brothers is going to. So if you're a Johnny Quest fan, I figured I'd put that out there. Seems like there's a lot that are out there, but I didn't watch it. I was hoping you would watch it.
Nope, haven't seen that one.
All right, moving on. Let's go to Netflix. Netflix, something that you can watch right now, and I am pretty excited about this. It is The Outlaw King.
This looks so cool.
It looks really good. And it's Chris Pine, basically portraying Robert the Bruce from Scotland. This is, based on the true story.
Right. And my friend who's an epic Braveheart fan is
I was going to say.
He's still upset with Robert the Bruce for what he did.
Yep.
to Mel Gibson's character in that. Can't remember his name right now because I'm a real history major, obviously.
William Wallace.
William Wallace. There we go. Anyway, this still looks awesome.
We're knocking it out with the names today.
Yeah. But yeah, this looks really fantastic.
Yeah.
Every trailer I've seen just sort of makes it look more.
Looks fun to me.
More intriguing.
I'll watch it.
And I like Chris Pine a lot.
I do too.
So it should be fun.
Yeah, so that movie is out now. You can watch that on Netflix. Just released today, actually.
Yeah, and
November 9th.
I don't know if you've been reading about this online, but there's a lot of buzz about Chris Pine's character taking off his clothes in this one. So that's if the ladies are interested, you'll look up Outlaw King, and you'll see a lot of funny articles where they're talking about this.
Oh, all right. Putting something in for everybody. All right.
Yep.
Well,
for everybody, that's right.
Chris Pine, I'm still going to watch it. So there's that.
Good for you.
Another one that was announced. This is a forthcoming series. It's another David Attenborough series, which
means
listen to anything David Attenborough narrates. And this is from the creators of Blue Planet and Planet Earth, which if you watch those two series, I love those series.
Everyone watched those series.
Some people don't.
Yeah, well, they should.
They should. So there it is. Ryan told you right now.
Amazing.
He set you straight. Well, this one's going to be called Our Planet, and it's another 8-part series where we're going to get, the same kind of thing. It's all shot in 4K, and they go around the world. They said you'll explore the Arctic wilderness, the deep oceans, landscapes of Africa, and diverse jungles of South America. Boom, you got me. I'm in.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
I'll watch every episode of that.
He is the man. The first one, Planet Earth, basically was sort of the prototype of HD video. I mean, I don't know if you remember when it came out. HD TVs were like a new thing,
and they had been shooting it for years.
Everybody started watching this. And nobody could believe how good it looked. I mean, I remember being at my friend's house and just saying, "This is it. I can't believe they have."
Right.
This kind of thing that you can watch at your house and it looks this good.
Yeah.
So I expect, don't expect it to be on that level, but it should
But it is in 4K.
4K HDR. It should look spectacular.
Yeah. Yep. So we've got that. Netflix also announcing that they are bringing a couple more series to their service. These are going to be animated.
Right.
And they're doing a Pacific Rim spinoff.
That could be awesome.
And so that's... I'm not a big Pacific Rim person. I'm just going to tell you.
That's fine. But
I know you are.
It's not the most amazing movie ever, but it's just fun.
It's fun.
Monsters tearing stuff up, and it is ripe for animation because you can kind of let your imagination go wild. Yeah, so that should be fun.
Well, there's that one, and then Altered Carbon also getting a spinoff that's going to be animated, which I
Take two.
Yeah, I watched. Yeah, right.
Because I don't know if that series did so hot.
Yeah, Altered Carbon, I watched probably 3/4 of the way through, and then I got distracted by something else.
And then you're like, it doesn't matter.
And then I just didn't go back.
Yep.
I mean, I really like
that's
the
kind
idea.
of a common theme these days, but I heard that this one just didn't quite get there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I never went back. I didn't realize I didn't finish it until I saw that this was coming out.
Oh, wait, I was still watching that.
Probably halfway through one of those episodes somewhere in my Netflix backlog. But yeah, so they are going to get an animated series for that too. Altered Carbon, Pacific Rim. And let's see, we'll go to one last thing here. We did get a trailer. So this is something that's coming out December 7th on Netflix.
And I have one thing after that.
Oh, you do it? Okay.
Yes.
Yep. And it has to do with Mowgli, which is basically the Jungle Book, but based on the actual book. So it's much darker. And we got a trailer for it. So there's a limited theatrical release that's going to happen, which Netflix is doing that for a few things now.
Right.
Because that way they can get nominated for the awards. They're doing it with The Ballad of Buster Scruggs as well. But this is going to be coming out, let's see, December 7th is when it'll be streaming on Netflix. It looks good.
Yeah, I mean, this is
it
one of
looks
those interesting
entertaining.
things where Andy Serkis was doing his thing while Jon Favreau was doing his thing. And
Yeah, both kind of doing
making the
different
Jungle
versions.
Book. Yeah, and so that was kind of unfortunate. So it kind of got this one sort of got knocked off the pedestal because Jon Favreau's movie did so well. But there's a lot of interesting stuff here. Yeah, and I think it'll have a nice run on Netflix.
I like a dark version.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, I want to see what it looks like. So that's going to be November, late November will be the theatrical release, but December 7th is when you can actually see it on Netflix. All right, Ryan, what did you have?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk. I finally saw First Man.
Oh.
And for those who haven't seen it, I just we watched it last night. And
First Man is
the movie with Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong, and man, it's spectacular.
Like, is it the story that's good? Is it the cinematography that's good?
So a couple things. First of all, I kind of thought that they had dramatized some of the events leading up to it, but it was based on a biography, a really famous biography, and it was Damien Chazelle, and they really brought it, and apparently all this stuff really happened. It's just amazing the steps that it took to get to the moon. They did it in like 7 years, and we've all heard this story before, but this really gives you a more intimate look at it. It really tries to dig deep into who Neil Armstrong was and what his demons were. But another interesting thing we found out—
that's cool. Learn more about him.
Absolutely.
Person,
But also the shooting is, Damien Chazelle's cinematography, and he has a great cinematographer that works with him on this, but man, does it look amazing. And we realized we watched a Nova special about Neil Armstrong afterwards because we were just like in the moon mood. And that could be used for something else. Anyway, but they took all these shots, these famous shots, and redid them for the movie, like the stepping off of the pedestal onto the lunar surface.
So they reshot all that.
Yeah, and the rockets disembarking. It's like almost exactly the shot, but cleaner and in beautiful cinematography.
Wow.
And so it's just really a fantastic movie, and I think it may have fallen off people's radar. They might have seen Venom or something instead. But if you get a chance to see this in a really good theater, it is definitely worth it to go see this movie in a big screen because it's really beautiful and really interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, all right, it's going to be up for Oscars. That's not going to be a big surprise to anyone. But man, I was really glad to have seen it on the big screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might have sold me on that because I love those I love space movies, and I love.
Yeah, it's kind of like Gravity, but more realistic.
Yeah, because it actually happened.
Yeah, and it actually happened. And
it was all filmed on a stage, and
I didn't realize what they went through to dock. Like, they had to figure out how to dock two ships in space before they could even attempt the moon.
Yeah.
And Neil Armstrong basically made that possible with his cool head. I've been calling him, and it's totally a diss on Neil Armstrong, but he's like for people that don't think about who he is, he was so cool under pressure. He's like the Tom Brady of space, which is like giving Tom Brady way too much credit.
Yeah,
but
I don't like
but
that.
the cool head under pressure. Anyway, it's just
Tom
an amazing
Brady of
story.
space.
I can't believe I said that because damn it.
Wouldn't Tom Brady be the Neil Armstrong?
Yeah,
football
exactly.
field?
Yes, that is
Even
much better.
still?
He wishes, but yeah. That was just a reference for people to think about
Well,
it.
I was asked.
I feel like Neil Armstrong doesn't get his due these days. It's like all Buzz Aldrin, and he kind of fell off the map.
Well, because Buzz is still out there.
Yeah, and also Neil Armstrong sort of, walked away from the media because there was so much attention. And the movie doesn't go into this, but the special we watched does. There's so much ridiculous attention on him for being the first man. And when you think about it, like, I know it's obvious, but the first person to actually do that, it's just insane. The what was riding on that? Everything was riding on that. The space race between us and the Russians, the Cold War, just the experience itself. So just really cool to get into that mindset.
That's great. I will definitely check that out. Edward did ask, did they use the same soundstage as the original moon landing?
Ayo. Oh, speaking of sound, though, I'm not gonna answer that one. But speaking of sound, the sound is one of the most amazing parts. They use silence. I feel like that's happening more in films where they use silence at the right moments to just really create awe.
Well, there's no sound in space.
Yeah, exactly. So they, but of course then there's soundtrack to it as well. But that's becoming more and more common where they just use all of the tools at their disposal to really create an immersive experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Stuff.
Yeah, your passion for this movie is selling me on it.
Check it out.
I kind of want to watch it.
In theaters.
All right. Well, let's circle back around to the top before we wrap up today. Again, just talking about the Disney streaming service. Like, a lot of news really coming out about it. I mean, at least getting a name, Disney Plus, knowing what the different platforms are going to be on it. and knowing some more series, confirming that Loki's getting his series, and there's the other Marvel series that we're pretty sure are probably going to happen as well. And then 2 Star Wars series. Is it enough for you? Back to the original question. Will you subscribe to it?
Of course. They've got my money.
You've already done it.
And I wish they didn't.
Yeah.
But they got my money.
You want to say no, but you're going to say yes.
Want to say no, have to say yes.
Me too. I mean, I want to say exactly. Like, I do not want to give Disney more money.
I passed on CBS All Access, but this is just too compelling right now.
I mean, honestly, it's the Loki series, and then the Star Wars is a bonus.
Yeah, I really want to see that
I'll
Loki
watch
series.
Loki
Absolutely.
Series. Yeah. All right, Disney. Damn it.
Fine.
Again. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Between the Streams. We really do appreciate it. So we're live at noon Pacific every Friday here from our Digital Trends studios in Portland, Oregon, and then 3 p.m. Eastern. But the most important thing here is we're a podcast. Subscribe to the podcast, the audio version, wherever you get your podcasts. Hit subscribe to Between the Streams. Just type us in there. We'll pop right up. And just click that button. Maybe give us a review. Cool.
Check it out.
5 stars. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you next week with another episode.